Discover the million-dollar sales page secrets used by the world's most successful copywriters and business owners. This is the Copywriting for Sales Pages Show. And now your host, sales page expert and copywriting egghead, Debbie Owen.
Hey, welcome to Copywriting for Sales Pages. I am your host, Deborah Owen, and I am really excited to introduce you to this brand new podcast. I've been thinking about it for months, and I've actually got, I think, 15 of the interviews already in the can, and I am really excited to start bringing them to you. You are going to love what you're going to hear from our guests that are coming up, and I've got a whole bunch more that are already signed up and excited to be on the show because they've heard who else has been on the show, and the word is getting out, and I haven't even launched yet. And but now I am. This is episode number 1, actually episode 0, and I'm introducing myself to you, and I'm just really excited that you're here to be with me today. So let's talk a little bit, first of all, about what copywriting is and why you should care. Now, honestly, I'm mostly speaking to business owners who are already writing their own copy or who maybe are looking to have somebody write it for them. But I'm certainly not going to tell you, if you're a copywriter, don't listen to this show, because there are gold gems coming your way that you are just going to love, regardless of where you're coming from. But mostly I'm speaking to business owners who do write their own copy or who want to know how to recognize great copy so that you can hire a great copywriter to write it for you. So that's the premise behind this whole show, Copywriting for Sales Pages. And what we're going to be doing is we're not going to just talk about sales pages. We're going to talk about, first of all, yes, all the elements that are in a sales page, from the headline to the risk reversal, to the story, to all of those other pieces that are really important for a sales page to be effective. We're also going to be talking about all of the other elements of that are surrounding a sales page. We'll get into some of the ads. We'll talk about how do you get people to the sales page in the first place, a bit of lead generation. We'll talk about the emails that come after the sales page. We're going to talk about the webinars that come right before the sales page. So we're going to be looking at the sales page kind of in the greater context of copywriting in general, and what do you need to know? How do you tell those stories? How do you create persuasive writing that gets people to take action? Because that's what copywriting is in the first place. It is words on a page, or perhaps on a video, or maybe you're listening to an audio, but for all intents and purposes, it's words on a page that cause somebody to take a specific action. It's persuasive writing, usually for sales and marketing materials. So that's what copywriting is, and that's what we're going to be talking about. What I want to share with you is, well, you may be wondering, part of being a copywriter is understanding that you have to give some credibility for why people should pay attention to you when you're writing. And you may be wondering who I am and why I'm here. Well, actually, this is my, I think it's my fourth podcast. My first couple of shows were all about parenting, because that's what I started out doing. And I learned a lot about podcasting, and I learned a lot about what not to do marketing because I was a parenting coach and I had some trouble getting going at that point in time, and I just didn't know enough about marketing. I had actually started out as a public school library teacher. I did that for 12 years, mostly for teenagers. I was teaching reluctant teenagers how to do research. If you think your job is hard, you should try that. But I loved the kids. It was just kind of a lot of the other stuff that went around that was part of the whole being a public school teacher, that it just got to a point where I was ready to try something different. And so I took and I'd been writing. I published my first book. I had over 150 blog articles. I had peer-reviewed journal articles that had been published. So I had writing skills. I had a lot of experience, obviously, working with kids. Like I said, I love kids. So I turned that into a parent coaching business. I also got certification, not just in coaching and parent coaching, but also in mental toughness, teaching young people how to have mental toughness for sports, for testing, for all kinds of things. But I just didn't know enough about marketing. What did I know? I'd been a teacher my whole life, and I really struggled to get the business off the ground. So I had the opportunity to write content for a big name internet marketing guy. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Todd Brown. And I learned a ton by basically channeling Todd's thoughts into content for his blog, for his emails, for a whole bunch of other writing opportunities for Todd Brown. And I learned a ton about marketing, you can imagine. And anyway, long story short, turned that into all kinds of writing, got copywriting courses out the wazoo. I've been studying with some of the greatest copywriters out there, and got to a point where I felt like I really needed to do another podcast to begin to share what I've been learning, and also to introduce some of you to the people that I've been meeting who have made such a difference in my life and in the lives of my clients, and so many other people as well. So that's the background behind this story. And what I want to do today for this first episode is just give you a little bit of, some takeaways that you can run with right away. So the thing is, every business has to have somebody on their team who's writing copy. If you're a one-person show, that's you. But if you've got people that you can work with who can write copy for you, just like maybe they run Facebook ads for you or Google ads for you, or they set up your email provider, whatever it is, if you've got a team of people, that's great, so that you can focus on doing what you do best. Whatever your business is, maybe you're a weight loss person, maybe you're a dog trainer, maybe whatever it might be, you focus on what you do best. That's the ideal. But in the short term, if you're still writing your own copy, I'm going to give you some great tips right now. So what makes for good copy? And there's a ton of things that you could say about what makes for good copy, and I'm just going to give you a few here today. One is you're writing to a very specific audience with a specific problem that needs to be solved. So if you are not really, really clear on exactly who you're writing this for and exactly what their problem is and how you can help them solve it, you're going to have to go back to the basics. And we'll get into all of that through all of our episodes. So there's some of the solo shows I'll be doing with you like this, as well as a lot of the interviews that I'll be doing. Another aspect of good copy is that you are really clear about how you help them solve that specific problem. So again, we'll get more into detail on some of these things, but I'm just going to give you kind of a quick checklist here, okay? And you also need to make sure that you are not just making claims that you can't back up, but about how great your service or your product is. You have to have solid proof, evidence that what you claim really is true. Otherwise, you're going to get in trouble and you're going to get people angry at you if you can't actually come through with the goods. So make sure that what you're saying is absolutely true and you can back it up. Maybe it's testimonials that you've got, maybe you've gotten medical studies you found online, whatever it is, make sure you can back up the claims on your sales page. Another element of good copy is that you create trust with your audience by proving your credibility and your authority, by demonstrating your expertise and your experience, and letting them begin to recognize that, yeah, you know what you're talking about. You've got this experience. You've had these great results in the past, and that is how you demonstrate your credibility and your authority. You've got to be able to do that in your copy as well. Another element of great copy is you tap into an emotional response by the words, the stories, and the pictures, the images that you write about. So if your copy isn't emotionally compelling, it's just not going to work. Because I'm sure you've heard this, people want to buy because of the emotional response they have, and then they justify it with logic. So you have to have both. You've got to have the emotionally compelling copy, and you need to have the statistics and the proof that I was talking about a minute ago to back up whatever your claims are. You got to have both. Another element is your reader has to read your copy or view your video or whatever it might be and say to him or herself, yes, that's me. I feel like you're talking about me. And that comes from knowing your perfect audience, your target client, so well that you actually know them better than they know themselves. And when you do this right, you will know, because you will have people writing to you and saying to you, I felt like you wrote that just for me. Okay, so that's a really important element of your copy as well. And finally, you've got to provide hope that your reader's problem can and will be solved. You've got to give hope, and that means you've got to be able to demonstrate that it's going to that it's going to be, the problem is going to be solved. You got to give them an action plan. Without an action plan, they don't have hope. It's just like this pie in the sky kind of thing. So you definitely need to be able to give them hope that their problem is going to be solved by working with you. All right, and there's a pretty standard formula for how to arrange your copy, and here it is. It's 4 steps. Here's what I got and who it's for, and here's what it's going to do for you, and this is who I am and why you should listen to me, and for what you should do next. All right, I'm going to repeat that one more time. This is what I've got and who it's for. Here's what it's going to do for you. This is who I am and why you should listen to me, and number 4, what you should do next. So those are the 4 steps. For, you got to have that in there somehow. And of course, there's a whole lot more to it than those 4 steps, but you've got to have all 4 of those steps. And I'm going to give you one last really important tip for today, for this episode, and that is you don't focus on the sale. Honestly, your reader doesn't care about buying something. Most people don't actually want to buy something unless they, well, maybe there's some people who do, but most people don't want to spend the money to buy something. That's not why they're there. They are there because they have a problem and they want to see if you can help them solve it. So the best way to do is don't focus on the sale. Yeah, you got to talk about it eventually, but don't focus on it. You want to help them imagine life after they've purchased your product or your service and after their problem doesn't exist anymore, thanks to you. No more being overweight. They can fit into the clothes they want. No more dog that barks too much or that bites people. No more retaking that same test over and over and over again because now they've passed it and they've been able to move on with their lives. All right? So when you can help them imagine what comes after they've started working with you, that's when everything's going to fall into place, and that's when the sale is going to be easy. You don't even need to sell once you've given them hope, you've demonstrated your credibility, and you've shown that they're going to be able to imagine what life is going to be like once they've solved their problem. So this is just a real quick introduction. This is episode 0. Again, I'm super excited to have you here for Copywriting for Sales Pages. And go ahead and go on to the next episode because you are going to be, like I said, you're going to be blown away with the quality of content, the interviews. I'm actually calling them conversations more than interviews because I really wanted to dive deep into getting to know our guests. And this is all for you. And if you have any comments or questions, always feel free to write back and let me know. And here's our jingle at the end. And thanks so much. I'll see you in the next show. Hey, my name is Deborah Owen from Big League Copywriting. Knowing how to write copy for your business is one of the most important skills you can learn, but I see many business owners making easily correctable mistakes. Find out if you're making some of these mistakes by getting your copy of Why Your Sales Page Isn't Converting, 12 Big Mistakes Business Owners Make When Writing Their Own Copy. And you can find that at bit.ly/why sales page isn't converting. So let's get you some sales page success.